You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. 1 month of advertising starts at $200. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Hi everyone, welcome to Make Your Day Richer. I have a very special guest today. He was on my last show, The Richard Wilmore Show, and I think it has the most views of that entire show. 6 years I did that show. And so I want to introduce you to my dad. Hi Dad.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. And yourself?
You know, I have no complaints. My dad is in town from Wisconsin visiting for the weekend. And so I thought we'd jump on here and have a little conversation because you have had quite a life. And this entire show is about making your day richer and ways people can make their lives better or other people's lives better. And so you have had not the best circumstances ever. So I really want to dive into like, how do you make your days richer to keep going? But I want to like kind of start at the beginning first of what led up to today. Do you remember what year you were first diagnosed with your first cancer?
I have no idea. 32 years ago, probably?
92.
Was
I
it
was in
really?
second grade, yeah. Yeah. And so you were diagnosed with cancer, your first cancer in 1992. You've had how many different types of cancer?
Just the one.
Just the one?
It's always been the same, but at different places.
Oh, well, I've been lying to people then, telling them that it's been different cancers. How many different places?
Well, around where my prosthetic is, on my nose, my ear. They cut off half my ear, or part of it. And
Like Donald Trump.
And that's about it. The majority was right in my prosthetic.
So you might not be able to see it on camera, but he actually has a prosthetic over his eye, his nose. So you're missing all of that behind. So like right here, if you look at the camera, like this piece.
Let me take my glasses off.
Sure. There, you can see a little bit better. We can zoom in. Which is also very confusing when he's sleeping on a couch or a chair and you're talking to him because it doesn't blink. And so you think he's awake. But all of that is fake. Now, the first thing to be removed was your eye.
Correct.
And then it just sort of exploded after that.
Right.
When was the last time? So this started in 1992. When was the last time they found cancer in you?
Maybe 3 years ago, I'm believing, around there.
But up until then, it had almost been like at least once a year and sometimes multiple times a year, right?
Yeah, at least once a year.
Yeah.
More times than not, it was multiple times a year.
What was it like when because I remember like my version of that day of you coming home. What was your version of that day that they said you have cancer?
It knocks you back a ways.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe it at first, and then you get into the mode of how you're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was always I always thought about this way before because, as you know, I did have a sore underneath my eye for many years. And
there's like one picture, I should try to get this before this airs. There's like one picture, a family picture that it was Easter and you have a red mark under your face. And that's like, it was like the Wizard of Oz, like technical black and white and technicolor. And it was like, that was the color kind of before. And then it turned into black and white for us.
Okay.
But that's like the defining like photo for me.
Okay. And it was just like I always thought, I've seen people diagnosed with cancer, and it's almost like they give up.
Hmm.
And I always thought if I ever had cancer, because it was prevalent in my mom's side of her family, every
Mhm.
one of them had cancer.
Oh, really?
Um, that I wouldn't go in that mode. I would forge ahead. I wouldn't give up. And also because I had three boys at home that were little.
Yeah.
I don't. What age were you? You guys were.
I mean, I was in second
small.
grade, so
Right.
Mike was 3 years younger than me, and Rob was 3 years older.
Yeah.
So.
So you guys were very young, and I remember the first on the way. Well, my ex-wife and I cried the whole time home. And we had no idea what was going to happen. We were young,
Yeah.
30 some years old
Yeah.
only, and thrust into this and to deal with raising three boys. I just thought, I can't give up. I have
Mhm.
this much at home to give up on. And I thought it was a hand that God dealt you, and you have to deal with it.
There have, yeah. Was it like that? Has it been? It had. What's my question? Over the last like almost 40 years, 30 some years, it hasn't always been like we're just going to keep going, right? Like there had to have been, and I know there have been, like you've suffered from depression and
Oh yeah.
suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts and uh so what keeps you even to this day, because in a couple weeks you have to go for an entire week to get a new prosthetic. Like there's always something happening. Like what keeps you going every day?
Just the will to live.
Yeah.
And I always think I always think back on this. There's always somebody else worse off than you are.
Mhm.
And I can remember, I don't know if it was the second time I had cancer or diagnosed with it, because I was under the impression once the surgery, the very first one, I was
You're
going to be done.
They got it.
They
Yeah.
got everything,
Yeah.
which they did say, we got everything.
Well, and tell everybody the type of cancer you have and why it didn't work out like that.
I have skin basal cell carcinoma is what I have,
Mhm.
but it was a very aggressive kind, very rare, where it did not stay on the skin. It actually went inward. That's why I lost so much stuff. And that second time we were in the elevator, both feeling bad for ourselves,
Of
and
course.
it was just a shock. 'Cause like I say, I was under the impression that it was all over the very
Mhm.
first time. And, um, I'm sitting there feeling sorry for myself, and this little boy comes in, probably 6, 7 years old, bald head, and he had marks on his head, magic marker for setting up for his radiation and that. And he was just moaning, but real quiet, like, and I remember to this day, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm feeling bad for myself. And here's this little guy who's 6 years old, and look at him, and I thought, from then on, I it was just like, you just gotta, like I say, it's just the hand God dealt you, and to complain about everybody else has stuff going on in their
Yeah.
lives, so it doesn't do no good to complain about stuff, and you just gotta keep forging forward, because I have three grown boys now, two grandkids, and it's always something to look forward to. You just, to me, I just don't want to give up, because to me, then once somebody gives up, it's to me is certain death almost.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you've come close to that so many times. I mean, but when it gets like really dark, because it has to, There's no way, like, it can't, like, do you remember like specific moments throughout the last, 3 decades where you're like, this is why I keep going? Like, what moments in your life do you remember, or things that are happening that you're like, this is why I'm still here?
When I actually see my family, see you
Mhm.
boys, and see my grandkid, that's why I keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to see where your lives go.
Mhm.
You know, and that is my big driving thing, just to keep plugging away, um, and just know there's always somebody worse off than you are.
Yeah.
So
Well, my life hasn't gone far. I grew up playing talk show host in my bedroom, and here we are in a bedroom playing talk show host again. So you haven't
we
missed
haven't
much.
been far.
Small step. Small step.
Just different state.
Yeah, yeah, basically. What's your do you have advice even for people who are going through anything, whether it's cancer or anything, depressive states, that you can kind of give them to take with them?
I think you, which I was very depressed for a long time, not realizing I was.
Mhm.
And people told me, and I just didn't think I was. Um, and it's just to seek help if you need it. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid of it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be afraid of. There's all kinds of help out there for you, and you have to go seek it. And you cannot do it on your own.
Yeah.
You have to have a support system, and I have a very good support system. I mean, I can remember when you lived in, like, Maryland probably, and I had the cancer on my ear, and you guys flew in, and I had another son that was out of state that drove in for it. And that's a major thing when you think of the sacrifice they're all putting in just to help you out. That's what keeps you going. Then
Yeah.
you have to have a support system,
Yeah.
and that's to me that is the main thing. If you don't have a support system, it's hard to do it on your own.
Yeah, probably
know.
impossible.
You know,
It's a lot. Can you talk about your prosthetic and what that was like getting that? I mean, how many years did he had like a black pirate patch for many years,
yes,
and then finally kind of got to put your face back together and
yeah.
what was that like to go from looking abnormal like that to kind of having a little bit of normalcy?
You felt normal again,
Yeah.
because you blended in. I mean, everybody. I had the black patch for many years. I had after that, so much was taken away that I had to go with gauze. And if you have people just gawking at you, and you feel like you don't fit in at all. And once you get this prosthetic, it's like it's life changing. It was life changing to me because I could just fit right in, you know. And it makes you feel so much better. Your self esteem,
Yeah.
because with the patch and that, it was, and then everybody's asking you questions and that, and some are sincere and some are just nosy.
Yeah.
But it. I just feel so much better when I put it on.
Can you? There's a story I think of when you first got it, and my nephew, your grandson, like what he did to it. Do you remember that?
Oh, folk it.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it was both of my grandson and granddaughter. They would poke at it because they didn't think it was fake. They thought it was real. In fact, my granddaughter, we would play hide and go seek, and she'd holler at me because I would still have an eye open. And they they were amazed at it, that it would not blink.
yeah. If you could go back, I mean, you can't even really think about like what life would be like if it never happened. But do you feel like you've become a better person? Like, what have you learned from it?
So you just got to plow through adversity. I mean, as you know, I had a lot of it. I mean, it was
Mhm.
just ongoing and ongoing. Never, it was relentless.
Yeah.
And you just have to be in the mindset of, okay, they told us this. What are we going to do to correct it? And what are we going to do afterwards? And just keep going. You have to have positive attitude. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, and so much of it, because it was so rare, a lot of what they were doing to you was almost experimental. Like, I think even the doctors were grasping at straws. I remember at one point they were putting ping pong balls behind your patch to try to hold it up. Like, I don't think anybody really knew what to do with you or how to make it
Correct.
better.
Yeah, it was. We would have doctors come in and look at me, and nobody really had a definitive plan forward on what to do. It was all just, we will cut away and hope, and if it came back, just keep doing the same thing. But there was never real um, nobody knew exactly what we should do to get rid of it all and why it was progressing at such an aggressive rate as what it did.
And is it, maybe I have this wrong too, since I thought you had 12 different kinds of cancer. Was it also like skipping cells? So like when doctors go in, they go and they cut all the cells until they don't see it, right?
Right.
And
But
then yours was like skipping them so they would think they had it all.
well, it was
I'm probably wrong on this too. I don't know. I was in second grade making stuff up.
they told me that it was if you just miss one little, I mean less than even head of a pin, if you miss any little bit of that cell, it can mutate again and just keep growing. So they would think they would get it all, but someplace along the fringes or something, it would be there, that they did not see, and then it would just take off again, and it would just grow at an aggressive rate.
That's insane. What is sort of the, I mean, you go to the doctor often. What's the care plan now? And what are they looking for? And what are they expecting? Do they even expect anything anymore? Do they
They
try to?
always expect stuff, because it's, I go twice a year and I get a head to toe exam by a dermatologist. They go over every bit of my body, and if we see anything abnormal, they will take biopsies. And then we would just go from there. A lot of times they have taken biopsies where it has come back cancerous, but the biopsy got everything. And that's right now is our plan is just every 6 months to go in. I check myself out every day, and if I have questions or where there's spots where I think they are, they check that out then. But that's a basic plan right now.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it's been about 3 years, I think, since anything. So we're just kind of right now in a holding pattern and hoping everything goes right. But like they also told me that you're never cancer free. There's always a chance it's going to come back, either that or go into something else too.
Yeah.
So
I remember being a kid. You must have been 35 when you were first diagnosed. Because I remember thinking, because I was so young, I thought that was so old. And I remember thinking, if I can make it to 45, I wanted to like out myself. Because I thought if I can outlive you by and not getting sick at 45, that is enough life for me. I am good. And then I just turned 40 and I was like, okay, well, let's rethink that. So, but that like distorted memory of how old 35 must, but that's so young.
yeah,
That's so young.
it was. My wife and I were very, very young. And like I say, we had 3 little kids and we had to grow up fast, very fast. I mean, all the stuff just comes at you. And you have to deal with that. I mean, we had to deal with me alone. You know how many times I was
Mhm.
gone. And like I say, support system we had. Your grandma and grandpa took care of you guys
Yeah.
for numerous days.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat, if something we went down for a checkup and found out that it came back, we had to have surgery within the day or two. You guys stayed there.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully they were 2 doors down.
Right.
I always think about that. Like, if we were able to calculate how many actual years you've spent in a hospital bed,
Oh, geez.
I can't. I mean, literally, it would be years,
Yeah.
probably years.
I can remember celebrating anniversaries in the hospital, birthdays. You know,
Yeah.
we watched the last of what was this show now? Knots Landing.
Uh-huh.
We watched that. It was my ex-wife's favorite show.
Yeah.
We watched that in the hospital room. We spent many occasions there.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, we never knew when it was going to happen. We would think we'd go down just for a
Just a
checkup,
checkup. Yeah.
and it would just explode, and we would end up being down there for 3-4 days.
Mhm.
I can remember that one time we were down there for a while. We found it, and then we had to go for physical, all this pre-op stuff. We raced home that night, picked you because you guys were at your grandma and grandpa's, picked you up for a couple hours so we could be with you guys and bring you back, and drove back down because I had a 6 o'clock surgery the next morning.
Oh yeah, that's also good to know that his doctor was 3 hours away from where we grew up. So it's not like it was down the street; it was halfway down the state. And yeah, that's so interesting. I used to host a podcast called Arts for the Health of It. You should look it up, and we did I'll put it in the notes, but we did an episode with the doctors and the artists that made your
Yes,
face.
yeah.
Really interesting what people can do. You're getting it done in a couple weeks because it fades. You can kind of see that. But when it's fresh and done, it's so almost eerie.
It blends so well in. Like now, it's hard because of the way seasons change.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, now I'll be tanned,
Yeah.
and in the winter, then you know you lose your tan. But when they do before it fades, it's just unbelievable how much it will. I mean, I've had people. I've gone to eye doctors and they tell me to close. They don't realize I have a prosthetic,
Yeah.
or seen other doctors, and they're just amazed that I have this prosthetic on because they think I have two normal eyes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's crazy. We have to go now because we have things to do. Because he's not just here for this show. We're gonna go be tourists. Well, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you very much.
In more ways than one, thanks for being here. Go check out the other interview. I've interviewed you a couple times, so go check all of those out, and we'll be right back after this.
Are you an independent creative looking to take your career to the next level? Whether you're an author, illustrator, or thinking about getting into this industry, it's time to step into the spotlight at the Inkpreneurs Summit 2024. This November 1st and 2nd in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we're bringing together the best minds in the publishing industry for 2 days of unparalleled learning and intimate networking. From hands-on workshops with industry experts to interactive networking mixers, you'll get the tools, connections, and insights to turn your creativity into a thriving business. And that's not all. Our Fresh Ink Pavilion is the place for new and emerging authors to showcase and sell their books, right in front of passionate readers and industry pros who are ready to support your journey. Plus, meet our incredible lineup of speakers sharing your secrets to success in publishing and beyond. Space is limited and early bird registration is available until September 30th. Don't miss out. Secure your spot today and get ready to elevate your creative career. Visit inkpreneursummit.com to register. Let's give your creativity the success it deserves. See you in Winston-Salem.
Welcome back, everybody. My dad will be back in November for Thanksgiving, so maybe he'll want an update, and we'll show you his new prosthetic. I also just found out that our beloved Rosie O'Donnell was just diagnosed with the same cancer that my dad has,
above her eye. And so she had surgery this week for that. And so I am sending my love to her and her family. And, when you're ready, there's a seat right here for you, Rosie. Okay. Let's see. A new episode of Introspection from Grief to Growth came out this week. It's with Amy Lindner Lesser, amazing host. And I edit her podcast, and I have a lot of fun. And we're actually filming another interview right after this airs for her podcast. But take a look at a clip from this week's episode. It's all about the 5 stages of grief. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts, and including YouTube. Take a look.
I had a very mixed relationship with my mother. She was a narcissist. And what that means is that she certainly was not the easiest person to deal with. She demanded and commanded attention, often taking it away from me as a child. And while I would get angry with that, and as an adult got extremely angry, she was still my mom. I still loved her. And I still, as I get further away from when she died, I understand a little bit more. I am more forgiving of what she did. And it's easier. It's not easy, but it's easier to reconcile the two moms.
There you go. Introspection available wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, if you want to join the party that is Make Your Day Richer, you should advertise. Become a sponsor. You go to makeyourdayricher.com/advertising and choose the level you want. You can be a guest. You can have a commercial. You can have your logo on here, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you check that out. And please support the show so we can continue making great episodes. Because on tomorrow's show, we have Randy Botnick here. We're going to do some energy healing with Randy Botnick. She's an author. She's a healer. She does live messages for humanity every week on her YouTube and Facebook pages. And we're going to talk about that. She will be here live tomorrow. And I hope you are too. Thanks for making my day richer. Go make your day richer. And we will see you later, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.